Discover the amazing transformation of an adopted girl. Heartwarming fate revealed after 10 incredibly emotional moments. In the heart of Carson Hollow, where the mountains kissed the sky, lived a girl named Ella. She often felt like an outsider in her own home, a puzzle piece trying to fit into a picture that just wouldn't come together. Her mom was a single waitress at the local diner, always exhausted from juggling shifts. Yet Ella could see the love in her weary eyes. "You're my world, Ella," her mom would say, but the words felt fragile. The truth was Ella felt different. She looked nothing like her mom or the noisy crowd of familiar faces at school, each flaunting latest clothes and perfect families. Every day, she watched the other kids showcase their art supplies and trendy outfits. A tight knot formed in her stomach as she trudged home from school in her second-hand jeans. That was until she met Mr. Wilson, her elderly neighbor, a war veteran with a twinkle in his eye. He welcomed her with stories that spun like colorful threads through the fabric of her doubts. "Life's about resilience, young lady," he would say, his voice filled with warmth. He ignited in her a flicker of hope. He didn't care that her clothes came from thrift stores. He cared that she could draw. Ella started to pour her heart into art, hiding away in her room, surrounded by crayons and colors. Each swirl of blue and splash of yellow felt like an escape, an invitation to other worlds. But self-doubt lingered like shadows. Did she dare apply for the scholarship to the prestigious art program? As dreams danced on the cusp of her heart, they were pushed aside when she overheard something chilling. Their conversation revealed her mother's regrets about the adoption. Pain sliced through her like a knife. Fighting tears, she took a step back, feeling isolation like a heavy fog. "Maybe I'm just a burden," she thought. The warm relationships she cherished started to crack. Just when the urge to confront her mother bubbled within her, the town braced itself for turmoil. News spread like wildfire the local factory was closing. Fears gripped the community, and Ella watched everyone band together, a roar of support rising from the blue-collar workers. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The strength of the townsfolk ignited something deep within her. Inspired by Mr. Wilson's words, Ella decided she would showcase her artwork at the upcoming county fair. It was a bold step for this shy artist, a chance to bridge the gap between her dreams and the responsibilities of family. Yet, during the preparations, she stumbled upon a hidden sketchbook tucked away in a forgotten box. Each page held stunning artwork, breathing life into a past she never knew her biological mother's lost talent. With each drawing, Ella felt a connection, both to her roots and to herself. Standing at the edge of the fairgrounds, she could feel the crowd gathering, eyes shifting toward her. This was her moment. Would she grasp it and turn it into the light she sought, or would the fear of losing her adoptive mother pull her back into the shadows? The air crackled with possibility, leaving Ella at a precipice, her heart racing, questions swirling her mind. Would love be strong enough to bridge the gap of misunderstanding? Ella took a deep breath, her palms sweaty as she stepped into the fluttering chaos of the fairgrounds. Everywhere she looked, families laughed and welcomed the warmth of the summer sun. The smell of cotton candy mixed with that of sizzling corn dogs drifted through the air, but none of it reached her heart. She felt as if a curtain had dropped between her and the excitement surrounding her. Tentatively, she approached her booth, a hodgepodge display of her art. The colors danced across the canvas, reflecting her journey, each stroke a piece of her story. Yet, as the audience grew, so did the anxious knot in her stomach. The excited whispers and laughter felt miles away. What if they don't like it? The thought raced through her mind, fueling her insecurities. Suddenly, Mr. Wilson hobbled over, clutching a cup of lemonade. He smiled, his eyes twinkling. You ready to show them what you've got, Ella? I don't know, Mr. Wilson. What if they think I'm not good enough? The words spilled out in a rush, heavy with genuine fear. He leaned closer, his gaze firm yet gentle. They will see you, not just the art. You've got a spark, Ella. You've got more than talent. You have a story that matters. Ella's heart trembled at his words. This was it. A turning point, however terrifying. Taking another shaky breath, she straightened up, pulling her shoulders back. It felt like she was shedding layers of doubt. Mr. Wilson's voice rang in her ears. As the first crowd of visitors approached her booth, the weight of uncertainty pressed down again. A woman with a curious expression leaned in, observing Ella's colorful pieces with focused eyes. "This one is amazing," she said, pointing at a depiction of a wildflower field, wild and free under a blue sky. What inspired this? Ella took a moment and realized she wanted to share. Her heart swelled with a confidence that surprised even her. "It reminded me of home and my mom. It's like every flower tells a story of hope." The woman nodded, and Ella noticed her own smile reflecting back at her. That small moment felt monumental. Maybe, just maybe, this was about more than art. It was about connection. The crowd began to swell, people stopping to admire her work. Each compliment fueled her fire. They were seeing her not just her art, but the essence behind it. Then, over the buzz, Ella heard a familiar voice. Ella. It was her mother. She approached, her face painted with worry. Ella's heart stopped. "Mom," as she started, but her mother held up a hand, stopping her. "I'm proud of you. I've seen you sketching all this time, but I never understood." Her mother's voice trembled. "I'm sorry for my fears. I never wanted you to feel like you were less than perfect." Tears burned at the corners of Ella's eyes. Those words felt like a soft wave crashing over her, dissolving the harsh doubts she had held onto for so long. "I just want to belong, Mom. I want to be me. I know, sweetheart. And you are enough, more than you know." In that shared moment, with the crowd buzzing around them, Ella noticed the tension begin to melt away like snow in the sun. Their worlds were colliding, merging fears with love, doubts with hope. Ella took another step forward. A fresh wave of determination surged in her chest. She wasn't just an artist. She was Ella, her own person, as the last rays of sun dipped behind the mountains, illuminating the night sky. She felt a thread of connection weave itself through her heart. Stepping in front of her canvases, she spoke with newfound confidence. Here, as to stories, joy, and every wild dream waiting to bloom. But as she embraced the magic of the moment, a shadow moved through the crowd. There stood someone unexpected, someone from her past, with eyes filled with unspoken stories. Who were they, and how would they fit into this new chapter of her life? Ella's breath hitched as she locked eyes with the familiar face drifting through swirls of light and laughter. It was Alex, her childhood friend, the boy who once shared secrets on starry nights and dreams of adventure. The years had changed him. He was taller, more mature, but the warmth in his gaze, that unmistakable spark of friendship remained. Ella's heart raced with a mix of excitement and unease. "Alex!" she nearly shouted, stepping away from her booth, the canvas of her art forgotten for now. As he moved closer, she could see the surprise melt into sheer joy on his face. Ella hadn't seen him since their families drifted apart. Would he even remember her? "Ella, is that really you?" he said, his voice a comforting echo of their past. "Yes, it's me. Oh, wow, it's been too long." She couldn't help the smile spreading across her face. This moment felt surreal, a timely reprieve as she stood among her artwork, the courage from earlier now bubbling back to life. "Your art is incredible. I saw that wildflower piece from afar. It pulled me over like a magnet." His enthusiasm lit up her spirit. "Thank you. It means a lot coming from you." A moment passed, and they stood together, laughter mingling with the cheerful sounds of the fair. Yet, a flutter of uncertainty crept back in. "I wasn't sure you'd even remember me. I guess so much has changed." Alex nodded, his expression serious for a moment. "You have no idea how much I've thought about you. I wanted to reach out, but life happened. I was afraid things were too different now." Ella's heart clenched. How familiar it felt to be vulnerable with someone who had known her before all the weight of expectation. I thought you moved to another state. Everyone said it was for good. He shrugged, looking at her with a sincerity that sent warmth through her veins. Yeah, but I came back. I didn't know how much I missed home. I didn't realize how much I missed you. Her chest tightened. Could it be possible that their paths had woven back together? She gestured toward her booth, her fingers brushing over her artwork. I've been creating, expressing all those years of uncertainty. But I've always wondered if this was truly who I was meant to be. Alex stepped closer, examining a painting of a sunset that mirrored the colors of her heart, vibrant, chaotic yet beautiful. This is beautiful. It's you. Are you really going to doubt your passion just because of some shadows from the past? His words ignited a spark deep within her, fueling her renewed confidence. I guess I've been scared. I wanted to impress everyone, especially my mom. But I do want to be me. A thoughtful expression crossed his face. Then embrace that. Let the world see you. Get out there. Share your story like you did just now. He encouraged her. Ella felt a shift within. It was the same feeling she had when she first spoke up for herself. The same thrill of revealing who she truly was, woven like threads through her craft. Before they could speak further, a ruckus from the crowd pulled their attention. Cheers erupted as a performer on a nearby stage captured the audience's heart with enchanting moves. Ella's eyes sparkled with intensity as music filled the air. "Come on," Alex exclaimed, grabbing her hand as he pulled her toward the excitement. "Wait, what about my booth? Your art will be here when you get back. Trust in the connection you've made, Ella." His grip on her hand felt secure, a silent promise of support. As they rushed towards the lights, Ella's heart raced with a mix of joy and fear what awaited her in this moment of boldness. Would she step into the world, fully embracing who she was becoming? And as the crowd danced around them, she couldn't help but wonder what other surprises awaited her. What if this was merely the beginning of a journey she had only dreamed of? Would she be ready for the challenges it could bring? Ella was swept up in the rhythm of the fair, the warmth of Alex's hand guiding her through a sea of laughter and color. As they approached the stage, her mind filled with a whirl of memories and emotions. The music wrapped around her like a cozy blanket, igniting a flame of excitement deep within. Could a single moment truly change the course of her life? They reached the front of the crowd, where a dazzling performer twirled and spun, captivating the audience with fluid movements. Ella watched, entranced. Each leap and spin felt as if the artist were defying gravity, pushing boundaries in a way Ella had longed to do herself. The vibrant costumes, splashes of bright colors dancing in the lights, drew her into a world that seemed entirely outside her own. Alex leaned close, over the sounds of the cheers and clapping. "Look at that. Imagine being that free." His eyes sparkled with fervor, and for the first time in ages, Ella felt light, like a weight had been lifted. Could she step onto a stage like that one day, not just in art, but in life? "I'd love that," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the music. "But what if I fail?" "Fail? There's no failing in trying," Alex replied with a grin, his confidence infectious. "You're a creator, Ella. You bring beauty into the world. Just think about it, every stroke, every color, it's an expression of who you are. Let that shine." His words echoed in her head like a gentle reminder of something she had often forgotten. She realized the performer wasn't just dancing. He was sharing his heart, his story. And here she was, longing to share hers too, but locked in fear. As the performance concluded, the applause thundered around her. The energy surged through the crowd like electricity, and Ella felt it pulling her forward. "Let us dance," she blurted out, surprising even herself. She looked at Alex, and his face lit up like the fairground lights around them. "You read my mind." They joined the throng of jubilant dancers, moving with abandon under the night sky. Ella laughed, twirling and spinning, letting the rhythm take over. Each beat set her soul free. She and T felt this alive in years, surrounded by strangers, everyone lost in their joy. Ella began to let go of her doubts. The colors of her artwork, the vibrancy of her heart. She could feel it all rising to the surface. As she danced, she thought about her art the way it had always been a reflection of her feelings, of the stories she wanted to tell, but had been too scared to voice. After a while, they broke free from the crowd, breathless and grinning. "That was amazing," Alex exclaimed, running a hand through his hair. "You were so in it." "I didn't tell you wanted to stop," Ella admitted, her cheeks flushed with laughter. It felt liberating. Alex's eyes softened as he looked at her. "I could tell. You have so much potential, Ella. You just needed the right push." She swallowed, nerves creeping back. "But what if I'm not good enough? What if I mess up?" "Then you learn. It's part of the journey," he reassured her. "I think you just need to trust yourself. You've already shown so much courage tonight." Ella glanced back at the stage, now quiet and still, thoughts swirling in her mind. Could she really embrace her passions? Could she share them with the world without fear of judgment? Before she could respond, the sharp notes of a nearby band pierced the air, pulling her back into the moment. Just then, a familiar figure from the past stepped into view. Ella's heart skipped a beat. It was her mother, the very person she had sought approval from for so long, now standing in the crowd. "Ella," her mother called, her voice cutting through the music. Ella's breath hitched. What did this mean? Would she seek her approval? Would they ever reconcile the distance between them? With her hands trembling and heart racing, Ella caught Alex's knowing glance. This was a moment intertwined with possibility and trepidation. Would her journey of self-acceptance thrive, or would old wounds pull her back? As her mother approached, the air thick with unspoken words, Ella knew everything was about to change. Would she find the strength to face her past while daring to reach for her future? Ella's heart pounded as she stood frozen, staring at her mother. The woman who had shaped so much of her past was now mere footsteps away. She felt the vibrant colors and sounds of the fair fade into a dull hum, replaced by the memories of hurt and longing from her childhood. "Ella, there you are," her mother said, out of breath but smiling, as if she'd just spotted a long-lost treasure. "And Mom?" Ella's voice trembled. "What are you doing here?" Her mother's smile faltered slightly, but she regained her composure. "I came to support the community event. I've been following you online, seeing your artwork. I had no idea you'd be here tonight." Ella's cheeks burned. Did she really know? Had she seen the vulnerability and longing in her creations? Was it admiration or merely distance that maintained the barriers between them? Alex stepped closer to Ella, his presence a reassuring anchor. "Hey, it's okay," he whispered, sensing her unease. He wasn't going anywhere, and somehow that gave her strength. "I thought you were busy," Ella replied, putting on a brave face, trying to mask a wave of emotions washing over her. She fought the urge to retreat, to hide behind the bright lights or the laughter of the crowd. "I know," her mother said gently, hands clasped together, "but I wanted to make things right. I've missed so much, and I'm sorry for the years we lost." Ella's breath caught in her throat. Apologies weren't something she expected tonight. Would her mother take responsibility, or was this yet another moment of empty promises? Years of frustration brewed within her, battling against hope. "What do you want from me?" The question escaped her lips before she could think it through. "I want a chance to explain, to reconnect," her mother replied, sincerity in her eyes. "I regret not being there for you, but it doesn't mean I've stopped caring." Ella's heart wavered. She wanted to scream that words were just words, that their meanings had been diluted by years of silence. Yet amidst the confusion, the flicker of connection pulsed between them. "I always thought if I kept my distance, it would hurt less," her mother admitted, glancing away. "But I see now that it was the wrong choice. Can we start again? I want to support you, to be part of your life." Ella's stomach twisted. Did she really want her mother back in her life? What if this was just another layer of hurt waiting to happen? Just as she was about to voice her doubts, Alex squeezed her hand. His grip was steady and warm, whispering encouragement. "I don't know if I can trust you," Ella said finally, struggling to keep her gaze steady. "I understand," her mother replied, tears glistening in her eyes, but I promise I'm here for the long haul. I am proud of you. I've always been proud. Ella felt the room closing in, her heart a battleground of hope and fear. With so much at stake, she had to decide, would she allow her mother back in her heart and risk the possibility of heartbreak? Or would she keep her distance, clinging to the person she had become in the absence of that relationship? The familiar notes of a song broke through the tension, and Ella's gaze drifted to the stage where dancers twirled in joyous abandon. She felt a rush of inspiration, as if the dancer's movements mirrored her own internal struggle. Maybe we could talk more? Ella offered tentatively. It felt like the first hesitant step onto a stage, uncertain yet thrilling. Her mother nodded eagerly, hope blooming in her expression. I would love that. How about we start with lunch tomorrow? Ella's heart fluttered as she considered her uncertain answer. She realized she was standing at the precipice of change, where reuniting with her mother could lead to a blossoming relationship or open every old wound she thought she had buried. As she looked in her mother's hopeful eyes, Ella felt the weight of expectation settle on her shoulders. Could she take that leap of faith? The night air buzzed with anticipation, and as the vibrant sounds of the fair enveloped them once more, Ella knew she was on the brink of something powerful. Would she embrace what tomorrow held, allowing herself to be vulnerable once again? With every moment counting, Alex's warm hand in hers felt like a promise of support as she took a deep breath. Maybe, just maybe, she was ready to dance into the future she had always wanted. But as the ground beneath her felt less certain and more thrilling, a new question arose in her mind. What if facing the past meant unlocking a new, undiscovered talent she never knew she had? As the fair buzzed around Ella, she felt the moment hanging in the air, charged with anticipation. The lights shimmered, laughter echoed, and it held a promise of something beautiful yet terrifying. Across from her, her mother's expression was softer than she remembered. Maybe they could redefine everything. Lunch tomorrow, then, Ella said, each word almost tasting bitter on her tongue. She nodded, attempting to hide the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. The decision weighed heavily. Every tick of the clock seemed pregnant with possibilities. Great. Just what time and where? Her mother beamed, the light in her eyes almost blinding. It caught Ella off guard. I'll message you, Ella replied, her voice trembling slightly despite her best efforts. She didn't even have her mother's number. Of course. I'll be waiting, her mother said, excitement flickering in her words. Alex's hand was still in hers, grounding her amidst the storm of feelings. Ella turned to him, searching for affirmation. You okay? He asked, his voice low and warm. Yeah, it's a lot. Take a step at a time. You're not alone in this. His words soothed her, but the uncertainty remained unsettling. As they walked through the fair, vibrant booths selling handmade crafts and food shimmered in the twilight. Ella felt like she was walking through a dream, the colors seemingly brighter but tinged with the shadows of her past. How strange it was, reading between the lines in her mother's approach, wondering if this was genuine or just another misstep. Do you think she means it? She finally asked Alex, needing an honest opinion. I think she does, he replied, and she appreciated his steadiness. Everyone makes mistakes, Ella. It's part of being human. But want to make things right, that's a choice she's making. What if she only wants me because of my art? What if I'm just some kind of project for her? The bitterness crept into her words, surfaces of her heart left unguarded. Would it matter if her talent was the foundation of their budding relationship? Alex paused, placing a tender hand on her shoulder. You are never just your art to her. I've seen your work, and yes, it's incredible, but it's more than that. You're a person. You have feelings and experiences that make up who you are. Somewhere between the fair's music and the kingdom of unrealized memories, she realized he was right. With a pounding pulse, Ella squeezed his hand tighter. She needed to face this, not only for her mother, but for herself too. Tomorrow, I'll figure it out, Ella resolved, a hint of determination surfacing through her uncertainty. The moment felt fragile but significant, like the exact second before a dancer took their leap. As they drifted away from the fair and the night closed in, thoughts swirled through Ella's mind. The concept of forgiveness began to feel less like a weight and more like wings, something to help her rise above the pain. But a chuckle from a nearby booth caught their attention. A child popped a balloon, and laughter erupted, the parent's face softening with affection. It struck Ella how many moments she had missed sharing with her own mother. "Imagine what we could do, what I could share," Ella whispered, turning her face away to hide the emotion, trying to escape. "See?" Alex nudged her playfully. "Feeling a little optimistic? Maybe just a little." As they shared tentative smiles, the question hung silently in the air between them. Could trust really return? And then she sensed it, a spark of excitement breaking the surface. What if tomorrow opened not just a door to the past, but a brand new beginning for them both? But as they continued homeward, her heart still thudded with doubt. Could this be enough to rewrite their story? Or would she find herself caught in a struggle against the very thing she hoped would lift her up? The morning sun streamed through Ella's window, casting a warm glow across her room. She stirred awake, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Today was the day. She couldn't shake the feeling that everything could change, but it also felt terrifying. As she went through her morning routine, shadows of doubt slipped in. What if the lunch ended up being just another disappointment? She took a deep breath, trying to center herself. One step at a time, she whispered, reminding herself of Alex's words. Ella chose her outfit carefully, picking out a flowing dress that floated around her like a gentle hug. The soft fabric felt like a cocoon, both comforting and empowering. After a quick breakfast, she glanced at her phone. No message from her mother yet. Doubts crept back in. Maybe it was just a fleeting moment in the fair, an impulse her mother would soon regret. She decided to text her, her fingers hovering over the screen. "Looking forward to lunch at noon, Mom." The message sent, and she rubbed her palms together nervously. The minutes ticked by agonizingly slow. Was she prepared for this? At 11:30, Ella arrived at the cafe chosen for their meeting, a quaint little place with bright yellow awnings and wooden tables. It was buzzing with chatter, a delightful mix of voices that blended with the aroma of fresh pastries and coffee. She spotted a table for two on the patio, and it felt just right. When her mother arrived, she would notice the hustle and bustle around them. A comforting distraction, as the clock struck noon, Ella lost herself in thoughts of what to say, the weight of the past heavy on her mind. Her lunch was less about a meal and more a chance to redefine and reclaim something she thought lost. Suddenly, she saw her mother approaching, looking slightly disheveled but undeniably excited. Ella's heart skipped. This was real. Ella. Her mother waved enthusiastically, as if years of distance had melted away in an instant. She looked so different, vibrant, and almost youthful in the way she carried herself. "Hey, Mom," Ella replied, trying to gauge the warmth in her voice while keeping her own emotions in check. They shared an awkward hug, the kind that spoke of longing, hesitance, and anticipation. As they sat, her mother launched into a flurry of small talk about traffic, the cafe's famous muffins, the weather. It was as if she was attempting to build a bridge made of words, testing the waters with something familiar. "Thank you for meeting me," her mother finally said, her eyes sincere, yet filled with a vulnerability that tugged at Ella's heart. "I wanted to," Ella said, forcing herself to stay in the moment. She glanced down at the menu, trying to gather her thoughts. As they scanned the options, the silence loomed between them, a chasm wide with unspoken words. Ella's heart raced. This was supposed to be an opportunity for honesty, yet doubt simmered beneath the surface. Why now? She found herself asking, the question slipping out unconsciously. Her mother looked taken aback, as if she hadn't expected the question. "I've thought about reaching out for a long time," she said finally, her voice cracking slightly. "I just never knew how." The resonance of those words flicked a spark within Ella. What changed? For a moment, her mother faltered, eyes glistening as if she were weighing every word with care. "I've been so caught up in my mistakes. But I want to be here for you," to understand the woman you've become. The sincerity in her mother's tone cracked through Ella's guarded heart. Was it real? Did she truly want to be in her life? Or was this just another layer of hurt waiting to unfold? Did you ever want to know me? Ella pressed, feeling a mix of hope and fear surge through her. Each question was a step deeper into uncharted territory. But before her mother could respond, the sound of laughter and joy from tables nearby stirred something within Ella. It reminded her of the fare of laughter-filled moments she craved but had missed. This wasn't just about the past. It was about choosing to step forward into the unknown. She could feel it building in her, a flicker of something new, a shift in her heart. She was ready to hear her mother's truth. But before she could embrace it fully, a familiar face emerged from the cafe's entrance, one that would change everything yet again. Ella? Alex's voice rang out, filled with surprise. And with him came a rush of questions that could redefine everything they had begun to establish. What did he see in her? Would he understand? Ella's heart raced again, not from fear this time, but from the thrill of possibility. Ella turned at the sound of Alex's voice, her heart slamming against her ribcage. She hadn't planned for this moment, hadn't considered how his sudden appearance could transform the very conversation she'd longed for. His shock mirrored her own, his expression a mix of surprise and concern. "Hey, Alex," she managed, forcing a smile as she motioned him over. "Is this a bad time?" he asked, sensing the tension in the air, his brow knitted slightly. "No, not at all," Ella replied, her voice a bit too bright. She wanted him there, yet felt the weight of the past mixing with her present. She turned to her mother. "This is Alex, a friend of mine." Her mother's gaze flicked between them, an unreadable expression settling on her features. "Nice to meet you, Alex," she said, her voice steady but colored with hesitation. "You too." He took a seat at their table without waiting for an invitation. His presence was warm, familiar, but also like a storm on the horizon, unpredictable and daunting. "Mom was just telling me how long she's been wanting to connect," Ella said, hoping to bury the awkwardness the way a child might cover their eyes, believing they were invisible. Alex's eyes filled with understanding as they shifted to her mother. "That's really brave of you," he said, his voice steady. The sincerity in his tone soothed a part of Ella that was still raw. "Thank you," her mother said, visibly relieved that someone validated her vulnerability. Can I just say something?" Ella interrupted, the emotions bubbling to the surface, needing to be released. "Can we talk about what really matters? Because if we're going to do this, if we're going to move forward, I need us to be real." The moment hung between them, the cafe noises fading into the background. Her mother's eyes widened, a flicker of fear and hope dancing across her features. Alex leaned back slightly, the gravity of her words sinking in. "I've spent years feeling like I didn't matter to you," Ella continued, her tone unsteady. "And the memories those years of silence they've left marks on me I can't just erase." Her mother looked at Ella, the pain etched all over her face. I know, I've made terrible choices," she whispered, tears threatening to spill. "I was scared, Ella. I thought keeping my distance was protecting you. My whole life felt like a prison," Ella blurted out, quivering with pent-up emotion. "Just because you were scared didn't mean I didn't need you." Alex glanced at Ella, a small frown forming on his lips. The truth she kept hidden was now laid bare, vibrant and alive. He reached over to take her hand, a grounding force in a whirlwind of pain and hope. "Ella, you're strong," he said softly, his eyes steady on her, urging her to keep going. "You're already breaking those chains." "Maybe I'm strong," she admitted, her voice thick, "but I've had enough of all the questions. I want answers." Her mother nodded, her expression softening yet determined. "Then let me try. I am ready to be honest, Ella. I want to tell you about my choices, about why I thought the way I did." The weight of those unspoken stories hung in the air, heavy but also electrifying. Ella's heart raced, anticipation mingling with fear. Could this be the start of a new path? Will they find a bond they never had before? The cafe was still buzzing, but this moment felt like it belonged only to them, the three of them, poised at a potential turning point. Just as her mother opened her mouth to speak, the door swung open again. This time, a familiar figure stepped inside. It was someone from Ella's past, someone she thought she'd never see again. And as that person approached their table, everything shifted. Now what? Ella thought, feeling her chest tighten in a mix of dread and curiosity. What could this newcomer possibly want? And how would their arrival impact the fragile ground they were beginning to traverse? Ella felt her pulse quicken as the figure drew closer. It was Jake, her childhood friend, the one she had lost touch with after her mother left. Memories rushed back uninvited, each one a jagged piece of an old puzzle that still needed to be completed. He stood there, awkward and unsure, just as he had been in school when trying to find the right words. Ella? Jake's voice was tentative, yet thick with familiarity. I didn't expect to see you here. The moment froze, encapsulating all the unspoken words and unresolved feelings. Her mother's surprise morphed into confusion. Alex's grip on her hand tightened just a bit more. Hi, Jake. Ella managed, her voice low. What are you doing here? He shuffled his feet, glancing at her mother before returning to Ella. I was just passing by. I saw you and thought I'd say hi. There was a brief pause, a hesitation lingering in the air. We were just talking, Ella replied, unable to hide the mix of apprehension and excitement bubbling inside her. About everything. What kind of everything? Jake asked, his curiosity piqued. He knew the weight of the past hung heavily above them, but he had never quite understood the full extent of it. Family, choices, regrets, Ella said, her heart racing again. She did not know if Jake should be part of this conversation, yet something in her urged her to open the door wider. Mom was just about to explain why she left. Whoa, Jake said, taking a step back. I didn't mean to intrude, but there was something in his eyes, a flicker of empathy, that beckoned her to keep going. Stay, Alex chimed in softly, releasing Ella's hand to create an open space for Jake. If it helps Ella, I think she'd like you to be here. Ella's heart swelled with gratitude for Alex's support. Whether he realized it or not, he had become her anchor in this tumultuous moment. Okay, Ella finally replied, glancing at her mother and then back at Jake. Mom, maybe you should start from the beginning? Her mother inhaled deeply, letting the air fill her lungs before she spoke. It's not easy for me to share everything, but I owe you, Ella, and I owe Jake too, she said, offering a soft smile in Jake's direction. We were all kids once. We all deserve something better. Jake nodded, absorbing her words, and his expression grew serious. I used to think you left because of me or something I did. Ella looked over at him, feeling the weight of their shared past. No, Jake, it wasn't you. And with those words, she could see a flicker of relief wash over his face. Her mother's voice cracked slightly as she continued. I was lost, and I made choices that hurt the people I loved. I thought you wouldn't understand, that it was better this way. Ella's breath hitched again. The honesty felt raw, a new layer added to the tangled web of their lives. But you didn't protect me. You sent me away from all of it. I didn't think of it that way then, her mother said, tears glistening in her eyes again. I thought you'd be better off without you. Ella interrupted, emotion welling in her throat. You were my mom. I wanted you to be there. The moment hung between them, the blend of heartbreak and yearning palpable. Jake shifted closer, almost instinctively, his presence cozy and supportive. The cafe felt smaller, as if closing in on them. The din of conversations faded until it was just the four of them, caught in an emotional crossroads. I wish I could take it all back, her mother whispered, her voice breaking. I wish I could have been a mother you needed. The tension melted just a bit, leaving room for a glimmer of healing. As they prepared to navigate these uncharted waters together, Ella could feel the tide shifting, something fragile, yet powerful flared to life within her. But as they began to clear the fog of the past, Jake tightened his grip. And what about the things left unsaid between us? He asked, looking directly at Ella now. Where do we fit into all of this? Ella's heart skipped a beat, and her breath came short. What is left to ask? What was left to forgive? In that moment, with a past tangled in, secrets and a present threatening to slip away, Ella realized she had more questions than answers. And how could one conversation suddenly shift the course of everything? What else could unfold beneath the truth she had just begun to unveil? As the tension in the cafe lingered around the table like an uneasy storm, Ella felt a rush of emotions swell within her. The air crackled with unresolved truths and lingering regrets, each person at the table holding their own pieces of the puzzle. Just as Ella opened her mouth to speak again, her mother placed a hand over hers, her grip soft yet firm. "Ella, please understand," her mother began, her voice trembling with sincerity. "When I made the decision to step away, I thought it was better for you. I was so afraid of not being enough." The words settled in the space between them, echoing the deep-seated fears that had always haunted Ella. For years, she had quietly carried the weight of her mother's absence, but had never considered the burden her mother had borne. "Mom," Ella finally said, a newfound softness in her voice. "We all feel inadequate at times. But being perfect isn't what I wanted. I just wanted you the real you, flaws and all." The remnants of doubt began to peel away, exposing a raw connection aching to be rebuilt. Her mother nodded, her tears spilling over, but her face began to light up with an understanding that this could be a moment of rebirth for them both. "Maybe we're just starting to learn how to be who we really are," she whispered. Jake sat back, silently observing, aware that this was more than just about reconciling Ella and her mother. This was about healing for everyone seated at this table. He spoke then, his voice steady, trying to relate his own experiences. "I think we have all silently battled our own struggles," he said. "It's what brought us all back to this moment. We need to be brave enough to speak up, share our fears, and maybe then we can truly connect." Ella experienced a thick wave of emotion. This was the first time all her relationships felt authentically real. "I think for years, I saw you as my mom and nothing more," she admitted, tears blurring her vision. "But now I see you as a person, someone who has struggled and made choices that weren't easy. Maybe we can both learn from what happened." There was a moment of silence, a comfort stretching between them as they began to absorb these truths. In that soft silence, the echoes of unity formed threads that connected each of them anew. "Listen," Ella said, focusing on Jake. "I know our paths diverged, and it's hard to ignore that. But I want us to talk, to share those what-ifs and maybes that lingered between us." Jake nodded, his eyes softening as if the barriers from their childhood were suddenly negligible. "I've missed that," he confessed, glancing at her mom, then back to Ella. "Us being together felt right even when we lost it along the way." With a deep breath, Ella felt the kindling of hope. "So let us not pretend anymore," she suggested, her voice gaining strength. "Let us step into this together." Her mother looked relieved, wiping her tears with a handkerchief, newfound resolve glimmering in her eyes. "I'm here to stay now," she asserted, sincerity clear in her voice. "Let us create the kind of family we need. Take this one step at a time." Suddenly, Alex moved in beside Ella, a warm smile on his face. "And you know I'm here for both of you," he said gently. "Why don't we start with something fun? We could find ways to share our stories through art and creativity, just like Ella loves to do." "Yes," Ella's heart soared. "We can have potlucks, sharing art nights, even family outings." The excitement in the air was palpable now. Walls that once stood tall began to crumble away, replaced with laughter and plans for the future. As the cafe bustled around them, Ella felt the weight of anxiety lift. Maybe this was the new beginning she longed for, a rebirth of hope and possibility. Before long, they raised their cups and shared a toast to fresh starts, their hands intertwining across the table, a physical manifestation of the bond they were making. Just then, Ella caught sight of a bright yellow butterfly fluttering outside the cafe window, gliding and dancing with grace as if mocking the past with its beauty. It was a reminder, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every small step could lead to amazing new beginnings. With joyful tears in her eyes, Ella felt as if she had found her true self, surrounded by her family at long last. As they wrapped up their meeting, Ella glanced at her mom, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I'm ready to navigate this together," she said. "Let us see how beautiful it becomes." And as laughter and connection filled the air, they all knew they were stepping into a bright new chapter, hand in hand, hearts wide open to the future. Now, if you felt the transformation in this story, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for more emotional journeys just like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Comment your feelings about this beautiful resolution and what it means to you. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who would cherish this journey of connection and healing. Your support matters.